sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes. Welcome, everybody. Whether you're on 1290 AM, 96.9 FM, or Eternity Ready Radio. A little love and shout to Jeremiah Ferris out at Eternity. How you all doing today? This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We've got a beautiful group today. Don Sanders, our producer Richard Dugan, Dr. Jean Stultz, and she's actually brought a guest today. I'm really excited about that. Got Dominiqie, Hackett in the house. Others are going to join later on today. But without further ado, let's do this because we've got kids in the house. We've got recaps. We've got Don's recaps. We've got DP Charger recaps. So let's start off with Romy Davies. What's happening, Romy?
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, still recording from Faro, Portugal, with this week's SB Dom Sports Recap. On Saturday, the boys cross-country team opened the season with a second-place finish at the UCSB Gaucho Invitational, scoring 94 points and finishing behind Ventura, who had 34 points, and just ahead of Harvard Wesley, who ended with 106 points. The five runners amazingly finished within 13 seconds of each other. Kanan Birkin in the lead with a 5K time of 17.05 minutes, getting him 17th place. Drew Delorzer was next in 19th place with a time of 17 minutes and 13 seconds. Blaze Show followed, coming in at 23rd with a time of 17 minutes and 18 seconds. And then Andreas Dibdahl and Oliver Levine coming in 24th and 25th, followed close behind with the same score. The girls finished in 5th place, giving the entire SB team a total score of 159 points and putting them behind Ventura, Harvard Westlake, Canyon, and Foothill. Scores for the girls included Riley DeSoto, who came in 23rd place, McKenna Show, who came in 38th, Belle and Caitlin James, who came in 50th, and then Maya Show and Tiffany Ball coming in 53rd and 54th. Coach Olivia Parisi mentions how proud she is of the boys for packing together and putting on even tempo during the race, and just how proud she is for the girls for holding their own during the meet. In other sports news, the boys water polo team had one away game last week, beating Newbury Park 13-12. It wasn't a bustling week for sports games, but lots are coming up, and to name a few, the football team is set to play Oxnard on September 10th, and the girls volleyball team are set to play Buena on Thursday the 8th at 6 p.m. So tune in next week to hear how those go. That's it for this week's SC Recap. Thank you, Erica, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. Such a rock star, isn't she? She's amazing. Isn't she like the most amazing person? She was referred to us by a 4-year Dawn, and Ava Burford was her name, and she's actually off to, I believe she's still in grad school, am I right? But anyway, her twin brothers play water polo, and Romy gave him some kudos last week, which is really exciting. But we have a Charger now. First week, we've got DP Chargers, and they're doing great. All their sports programs are doing fantastic. We have a returner, Mathew Weitzel from last year. He said, I'm in this year. So, Mathew, talk to me. What's going on over at DP?
Thank you, Erica. Now let's get to DP's last week's recap. I'm Mathew Weitzel, and starting with football, Dos Pueblos crushes Nordhoff Rangers, 41-7. DP leading in sacks, interceptions, and completion percentage. And the Rangers leading in forced fumbles and fumble recoveries. And now for the stats of that game. Rios with 1 touchdown, Trujillo with 1 touchdown, and Busso with 3 touchdowns. What an incredible game. Now let's check in with the girls volleyball. They also got a win last Thursday against Oxnard, winning 3-1. Starting strong in the first set with a 25-19 win, but facing a bit of turmoil in the second set, losing 25-15. They were able to pick it up for the final 2 games, winning 25-19 and 25-17 respectively. And now with the stats for that game. Michaela Cervantes with 11 digs and 14 kills. An incredible defensive specialist and offensive specialist. And for the leader of the night, that would go to Chloe Kaufman. They are currently undefeated in the league and I hope we keep it that way. You go, girls volleyball. And finally, let's catch up with water polo. The Chargers crushed the Morro Bay Pirates 18-2, only allowing the opposition to score one time in both the second and fourth quarter, and starting off incredibly strong in the first quarter with 8 goals. Incredible week for DP sports. And with the time that I've left, I would like to shout out my friend Emerson Steady, who's going to Northwestern University. I hope you have a great time, buddy.
Wow. Mathew, you killed it. That was a fun 2 minutes. So appreciate it. Down the road, we've got SM going to be joining, and we've got the Cardinals going to be joining. Just recruiting some more and more athletes. If anybody out there wants to participate in doing some recaps, just give me an email, queenofteensb@gmail.com, and we'll get you all set up. This is a great line item for college resumes, and kids are having a lot of fun. I know we usually do gratitude, but let's do this because we have a guest in the house. Dr. Jean Stultz has brought a guest. I'm excited about that. I'm going to give it over to Dr. Jean. We'll be back right after these messages. And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
All right, welcome back. This is Dr. Jean, and this is Teen Sports Radio. I'd like to introduce to you a good friend of mine, an incredibly talented, embodied young man, Noah Block. He's been in a variety of high school sports, track and field, diving at San Marcos. And he's also done a lot of ballet and rock climbing. And honestly, the first time I met Noah was when he was with his parents at a dance event we go to weekly. And they were just spinning around and dancing. It was so beautiful. And then the next time I met him in person, he was halfway up a wall outside a yoga soup. He must have been 9 years old. And I was like, well, who is this kid? And now he's a grown man and he's attending Santa Barbara City College. He's studying biology. He's looking to, go to that transfer after the 4-year college. And he's also working with AHA and the Littlest Farm, practicing regenerative farming, teaching teens about farming and social emotional learning, self-awareness, and leadership skills. So he's just really all around got all kinds of skills. So Noah, it's so great having you here. I'm really excited to have you here.
Nice. Amazing.
So Noah, tell me, were you born in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, I was born in Goleta, but I've lived in Santa Barbara pretty much my whole life.
Excellent. How are you enjoying those SBCC biology labs?
I love them. I actually started out SBCC as a horticulture major to become like a farmer. And through taking some biology classes to do that major, I switched my major to biology just because I loved it so much. And I had such great professors. The department is just amazing there.
That is so
and
wonderful.
You're tutoring now, aren't you already?
Yeah. I'm starting a job next week as a biology tutor. Yeah.
So I want to make a plug for SBCC. Tell people about just how supportive the staff is and the access to professors and so forth.
Yeah, all of the professors I've had have been really nice. They really want to help. And it's nice being a smaller community college. Classes are smaller. You get a lot more one-on-one time with your professors. It's not like a room full of like 500 people where the professor doesn't know anyone's name. Like all my professors know my name and I can like refer to them by their first name. It's just like a lot of like a closer sort of student-teacher relationship, I feel.
What's your dream school? If you could go to any school in the country, what's your dream school?
Any school in the country. I don't know if I have like a dream school, but I'm looking at a few. Cal Poly SLO is definitely up there for me. UC Santa Cruz is really up there.
Consider Cal Poly Pomona. I have a daughter who's attending the graduate program to get her landscape architectural degree. So she's horticulturally based, and they have a tremendous horticultural biology department.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'm open to ideas if anyone ever has one.
Nice. Well, fortunately for you, we have a college coach, Raya Carpenter, and she's amazing. So if you have any questions or you need anything, we'd like to, gift anything that you need that we could help you on your journey, because I might want something in return from you, and maybe you could stick around, because don't you just love his energy, Dominique?
Yeah. How did you get involved in AHA?
Well, my mom has been working with AHA for a really long time. She started out as their grant writer, and then she became their director of programs, and now she's the director of trainings. And so I've just kind of automatically been part of it. I've been a teen since 8th grade. I was participating in AHA groups, and then as soon as I graduated, I just started working with them. Yeah,
we actually had AHA, I don't know, about it was probably 10 years ago.
Oh, we had Tia out. But can you share to teens what AHA is and how they can join?
Yeah. So AHA is a nonprofit. Stands for Attitude, Harmony, Achievement. It's a program that works with teens. We have a variety of in-school and after-school groups in the middle schools and the high schools, completely free for anyone who would like to meet new friends. We play lots of games and learn about social emotional skills, teamwork, communication skills, vulnerability, all sorts of different things in different groups. So there's like a creative group, there's a guys group, there's a girls group. There's the farm, of course, where I work. It's like a very wide and broad.
What's that week that they do? Is it a weekend that they do where there's like no electronics, and that's really kind of like a bonding weekend?
Yeah, it's the digital cleanse is something that started last summer. Yeah, it's like a week-long camping trip at El Capitan. And I unfortunately didn't get to do it this summer, but I did get to do the first one. And that was really special. It's all about disconnecting from electronics and to be able to connect with each other.
That is so fun. I have 5 children. I used to take them out to El Cap. Any opportunity to go out there with a group of friends and unplug. It was a full moon, and we went swimming late at night, and we swam with the dolphins.
Wow. Magical.
There's so much that happens when you unplug.
Yeah. Yes.
Don Sanders is in the house. He actually donates his time at a farm. Pretty amazing your kids are a lot like Noah. Wouldn't you say, Don?
Yeah. And I heard you express interest in the Santa Cruz. I was just hearing in the news cycle recently, there's a professor up there who's co-authored a study. They track all the routes of the great whales that they use to go to the northern feeding grounds and back down south where they give birth and propagate. And they're trying to get international cooperation to try and keep these channels or these routes safe for the whales. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that sounded really interesting. I don't know exactly what your interest is in biology, but
yeah, that sounds very interesting. I definitely am a little less sure about the specific branch of biology I would like to go down.
It's more into the dirt, not into the agua, right?
Well, not necessarily. I was more like that before, but I'm definitely a lot more open. Mm-hmm. I'm really interested in marine bio. I mean, I've lived by the ocean my whole life. Mm-hmm. And the Santa Barbara Channel is like, I've just learned through my bio classes that it's like one of the most like rich, like aquatic ecosystems in the world. is like right off the shores of Santa Barbara. So I would definitely love to be able to explore that.
Yeah, and they've been trying to protect whales from getting hit by ships and things out there.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great conservation work too.
Yeah.
But what's up with all the seepage, though? I mean, if you go to other parts, I know it's normal, but if you go to other parts of California and you look, if you go to San Simeon, the water is just a completely different color.
I know. It's the naturally occurring oil that's seeping in our. But the color of the ocean water has to do with temperature, right, Noah?
Yeah, I think, I'm not like an expert about that, but it has to do with the temperature and the currents bringing, like in the channel, we have like a lot of these sort of cold water currents that bring in lots of nutrient rich water, which is like not that clear, but it's because it's full of so many microorganisms and rich in life.
Nice.
It's actually a good thing. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Noah, you're the prototypical poster child for a Teen Sports Radio future co-host. So if ever you wanted to come back, if you would like to participate, maybe you could bring AHA, maybe you bring your mom back. That would be great because we haven't had AHA out here in like a decade.
I know. Can I ask a quick question? How'd you start rock climbing?
I started when I was in junior high, 7th grade. I remember my mom asked me if I wanted to like be on, she saw like a flyer or something. She asked me if I wanted to be on the rock climbing team, which they were just opening up for. You didn't have to really try out or anything. And I started climbing at the Santa Barbara Rock Gym, and I was on their climbing team. And I did that for a few years.
If any teens have not tried it, rock climbing, wow. It uses every muscle in your body, and it's quite thrilling.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get back into it. I stopped because I was doing track. And then I never really got back into it. But I've always kind of had it in the back of my mind.
How old do you have to be to do the rock climbing?
Any age, you don't really have to be a certain age.
Because
they put ropes on you
and harnesses and stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be great for a little kindergarten class to go out there at 5. Fearless.
And Noah, you went to your diving became a really big thing too when you were in high school, and it was right when everything kind of closed down. You were doing diving, and you traveled with your diving too, right? You had a lot of experience with that.
I got to travel before COVID, luckily. But yeah, I went to a couple different diving camps. One was in Indianapolis, and the other one was in China.
Wow!
Oh wow!
Nanjing, China. Yes. I went to China for around 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, I definitely did. It was like really amazing. Mostly, like I think the most amazing part was watching the like Chinese team train. How they're all like, it was just some of the most amazing like sports I've ever witnessed.
Nice. Don, you had a question before we go. Got to take a break.
I was just going to comment, Noah, you're developing into a full-fledged Renaissance young man. Kind of reminds me of one of our other co-hosts, Richard Ellsworth. You guys would have a great conversation together. Right, Erica, Dominique?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I should share the news. We'll wait till next week. Richard Ellsworth might have some big breaking news. But we'll see. But we're not going to break it here. It might not be the right time. It's in the universe to decide.
Well, it's really fun to see you on your journey, Noah. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for
Noah.
All right. We've got something we haven't had in the last couple of weeks. We've got a Hooga with Dominique Hackett right after these messages. And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m. Sam.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Dominiqie Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center, and I love to do what I call a Hackett's Hygge moment. And many times I like to share stories. And so a lot of these stories show up in multiple cultures, told in different ways, but they share things that help us build a beautiful character. And when we have a beautiful character, we attract people in our lives that have beautiful character, and it creates just a wonderful, wonderful life. So the story I want to share today is the story about the elephant and the rope. And if you didn't get a whole lot of stories as you were growing up, you may not have heard this one. But there is an interesting fact with people who are working with elephants. So mainly we're talking about India and Africa. And if they have trained an elephant to help like move huge logs or move huge pieces of whatever the construction is going on, elephants have helped human beings for thousands of years. There's this beautiful relationship between people and elephants. There's a very interesting thing that a very, very large elephant can be tied, and you'll see this if you happen upon a circus that has elephants with it. You'll see elephants tied to a very small rope, and the rope is anchored to the ground. It's a very small rope, and it's like, how could an elephant be kept in one place by a very small rope? And so the importance of the story will become obvious after you think about it. But when the elephants are baby elephants, they are trained, and at that time, the small rope is strong enough to hold them as baby elephants. So as baby elephants, they're trained that this rope is going to limit their ability, their freedom to get around. And they learned that the rope is holding them to a particular place and space. And as they grow older, because their minds have been trained that this rope is limiting their ability to travel and that they're stuck in this place, the rope's on them, they continue that memory related to the rope. And so as adult elephants, they continue to respect if they have a rope on their foot and it's anchored to the ground, then they're not going to go anywhere. And thus, a very small rope compared to the size of the elephant is holding them in one place. So the reason why I bring up this story as a Hygge moment is that I strongly feel that, especially as you're evolving through, teens are going through different relationships and you go through different friendships and you start accumulating a lot of experiences. We can, unfortunately, train ourselves accidentally to only occupy a small amount of space, either in our emotional reactions or in our mental reflections about an idea, about a person, about an event. We can limit our ability to actually explore a greater knowingness. And what I want to suggest to teens is that to just do a gentle review. When you find yourself saying can't, shouldn't, those kind of shutdown words, especially when you're in self-talk with yourself, look and see if it might be a situation where it's an elephant with a rope.
Ooh, Don's got some reflection.
Yeah.
Dr. Jean is going to be following up after Don.
That's very rich, Dominique. And in terms of looking at that, I like to come from the perspective of literature, which is one of my lifelong interests, along with massage and body work. And Orwell and Huxley, who wrote the famous 1984 and Brave New World, Orwell was more concerned about restrictions and rights being taken away from us and in your face kind of things. Huxley was more concerned with things like your story about the elephant. He was more concerned about we would be deluged with so much information that we would lose the ability to discern what's important and what's not. And it would inhibit us from being able to confidently move about the world. And he likened it to, he said, the world might become like this giant feather pillow that we kind of smother in. And I think that's very telling. And we don't want to restrict ourselves by the choices we make. And I also just cracked Henry David Thoreau's Walden again. the chapter on economy. And even he wrote Walden in 1854 in the 19th century, and he was already talking about people who get too encumbered with too much stuff. Instead of experiences and exploration and adventure and ideas, they get stuck on stuff. And he said that, they have these turnovers when people die, and like the modern garage sale where people come and they get a whole bunch of stuff and then they don't have room for it. So back in 1854, they stored it in barns. Now we have storage facilities you pay for. So young people, keep the ideas fresh, your explorations rich, and don't encumber yourself with too much stuff as you make your way along.
Lighten the boat, O bhikkhu. That's what the Buddha said to his monks. Lighten the boat.
All right, Dr. Jean.
I love all of those. There's so much rich stuff here, Don. That was really, what a great follow-up on that too. Although I'm still kind of like stuck in this image of being smothered by pillows, feathers in my pillows. I'm like, that's a great image. So, but I think about this, I do like to work with different boundaries, right? An environmental boundary is one of them, right? We're looking at what is in your physical space, right? So, we can look at this metaphorically, but it is so true that if you're noticing that things are piling up around you, it's it's probably likely that that's also what's happening for you mentally, that you can take some action in your physical space to move things around and really see what's important, what's your relationship to stuff. But I think even before that is looking at, how do I even come to the consciousness that this rope is not, how do we come to consciousness of that? That's really the first step, is going, wow, I can untie this knot. I didn't even realize that. I've been sitting here with this. So yeah, really interesting levels here. It's like a developmental stage when we discover that I can move from here, and now look, I can open the door and there's all this space outside. Who knew that I had that much power? So it can be a real empowering thing as well to step into that, moving from one space into another. And
I love it. And as I was growing up as a teen, there were a lot of different times where I couched my behavior by a sensation of shame, because I became ashamed of something because of something I learned from my culture or something I learned from my family. And as an adult, I realized, the shame can bind you. And there's actually a famous book called The Shame Can Bind You. And the point of this is, anytime that we find we've accumulated too much stuff that's not helpful, or we've accumulated things that we're allowing to bind us, we don't have the freedom to be authentic. And can you talk a little bit, Dr. Jean, about why it is that teens recognizing and being authentic will lead to just a more enjoyable life?
That's why the whole car is filled up, that we're going to the Goodwill after today, right? Because that's what you're doing now. You're trying to unbind yourself. And so I'm really excited about that, actually.
That's nice.
Serious.
Yeah. Wow. So being your authentic self in relationship, I think about how, as a teen myself, how I was always getting hand-me-down clothes. And I love to try on clothes from my friends and clothes. I had an older sister, and each one was like a different personality. And I could try them on for a little bit, but it was really figuring out what are the things that were mine. The things that this is not me. I remember taking some things and going, I'm never going to wear these high heels. This is not who I am, and being able to sort through. Hey, what feels good? What, even clothing, right? Yeah, we think about that as putting it on the body. And sometimes you just know this feels right. This shirt feels right. It's also the same sense of my authentic self. Well, who do I feel like I am? Am I actually a little bit more introverted and I like to be connected with friends who are also a little bit more quiet and like to spend that time together? Or do I want somebody who's going to be, full of energy and likes to get out and do active things, right? It's really, there's no right or wrong. It's just allowing yourself that experience to try on different things, different outfits of different sets of friends, all of those things to
and
get a sense.
I love trying on different sports. It's like, for teens, especially when you're first getting into high school and stuff like that. Wow. Try out things that you never thought that you would do. Like, I never thought I would do the track team. Absolutely loved it. There were so many people that I got to meet and interact with that, because I was kind of a nerdy person, that I would never have met in all my other classes.
Super. Hey, this has been great. Let's do this. I've got the little smooshy sign. We're going to take another little break. This is Erica Salda. Fill up your coffee. We'll be right back after these messages.
Well, now together we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we will stand, every boy, every girl, and a man.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Welcome back to Teen Sports Radio. I'm Don Sanders, donsmassageohio.com. And I was just thinking we'd talking about, I was bringing in about literature earlier, about what these philosophers and thinkers from, there's actually, let me finish that first thought, what they have to teach us today. You know, my interest was finally to settle on English literature when I graduated college, and it wasn't for going to law school or whatever. It was just an interest in being able to commune with these great minds. You know, like from the 19th century, Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau were some of my favorite, you know, great sources of inspiration now.
And you're a jock.
and I was a jock, and so. Yeah, that's a really curious thing because, you know, we try on different identities. Dr. Jean and all of you have talked about it. We try on these different identities. And if we have any clues as to which one of those paths we're being enticed down we want to follow, we've got to explore all these different kinds of things, you know. And so for me, I think because I didn't have brothers and sisters or a dad, these surrogate big brothers I had at the university, Stanford it was, you know, they cajoled me into getting interested in working out and to doing sports. And then I somehow, it was the 60s, you know, and Thoreau and Emerson were cultural heroes again in the 60s, you know. So I found my way to them. And I've always somehow like to get my history through literature because it brings something to life. In historical fiction, you can learn about things that are factually correct, but you can have some animation and blood and, you know, life to it. Whereas history, they say history is written by the conquerors. Sometimes history for me was very dry. So, you know, I tried to reconcile this person who kind of wanted to get close to nature and wanted to explore very much like Noah or like Richard Ellsworth. But then the other side of me was exploring this, what was necessary to thrive in being a jock, 5 sports down to finally a couple sports. But it was a tough marriage. It was tough to reconcile that one part of me that was trying to grow with that other part of me that was trying to survive. And a famous NFL football coach once said, durability is the cornerstone of athletic greatness. And I had to assess finally that I was not that durable. I had my flashes of brilliance, but I was not so durable. And I didn't want to go through life maimed or crippled from, you know, because I was, 2 of my sports were rugby and football.
And you've already have a double hip replacement. So you,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I have a double hip replacement. And so, but I'm still, you know, able to do, I'm very grateful for having connected to the physical, you know, and to being active and to still enjoying sports, the outdoors, hiking, all of it. But I've always, been enriched by going back to these great minds. There's a man who has his offices in Santa Barbara, Lou Marinoff, who has a National Philosophical Counseling Association. You can get certified in this, but you have to do it in New York is the only catch. And he goes bi-coastally back and forth. And his thing is we've all been analyzed too much, he feels, and that the great philosophers have much to teach us in terms of practical wisdom for going forward in the modern world.
Wow, I love it.
Boy, Dominique is interested in that, and then you killed it by saying you have to go to New York. Fortunately, I'm from New York, so maybe that's going to be on the bucket list.
It killed it for me, too, because I got in touch with him when I went back to Manhattan on a visit. I said, can you do this online? And he was like, no, you'd have to be in New York. I'm like, oh.
A typical New York answer.
Don, I don't think I quite got the piece about that we are psychoanalyzed too much. I like it. I'm just not quite sure what you can you say.
I'm paraphrasing Dr. Marinoff. His thing, if you want to delve more into that, his first book was called Plato, Not Prozac. So that was one of his first published books. And so I would defer to, go to the source there if you want to, because it's not a condemnation. It's just saying that, it's not, I don't think it's a blanket condemnation of course, psychotherapy. I mean, I've utilized that as a tool myself many times. And I think that book would elucidate why he thinks we have a lot to learn that we can get from the ancient philosophers. Yeah.
See, that's a good thing. When Don Sanders does body work with you, you get all this for free, extra. All this conversation. It's great. It's nonstop. You feel smarter. You get off the table and you're actually smarter. Okay, after like that 90 minutes. I feel smarter, Don. I just want you to know that.
Mind, body, and spirit. We want to help people heal the mind, body, and spirit, and it's all interconnected, as are we all. And so we're finding our way back to that sense of being connected with everything.
Dr. G, good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's why I think I'm just asking about that point, because I find the same thing with somatic psychotherapy that, I also am a lover of Walden and Thoreau and Emerson. And I just, Walden Pond, right? Like, I know Walden. But
good buddy.
It did when I was in high school reading that, really getting that there's something about slowing down and being in your sensory body, right? Really allowing that connection, that when you're paying attention and you're allowing that experience to overcome you, right? That you have a natural connection with the pace of life, and you get a better feel for what is it that the ants are doing, right? And so that's really what led me into my field was, hey, there are so many fields in psychotherapy, cognitive, right, mental, analytical, but there's also this body piece that hadn't been integrated really until the 2000 was when it really started weaving back in. So I just appreciate that.
Right. And what you're speaking to is I relate to it as the very important topic of distractions, because we're just, it's kind of like back to that thing that Huxley was concerned about. It's like we are bombarded these very addictive devices, it's very hard to shut them out and just hear your still quiet voice inside. And we need to make time, train ourselves little by little to do that. Because I think too many distractions. Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor, he wasn't credited for it, but he really did. Besides alternating current, he developed the radio. And so when asked about the radio, he goes, yes, I invented it, but I don't use it. I never liked it. It distracts me from deep, concentrated thought.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
In the house, we've got Alex Ramirez. He's been sitting here listening, absorbing it all, understanding it all, because owner of 805 Fitness, that's what he does. He has to get the mind and the body together, because why are you going to do that extra set if you're not focused? Alex.
How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Great.
It's all about that focus, especially when we struggle with kids. We're talking about these teens. how hard is it for them to focus? And it's so tough now with social media, the phones, the distractions that we have, talking to Nikola Tesla, right? His distraction was the radio. These kids nowadays have the distraction of their phones, and it's tough. And so separating yourself from that is a huge first step to get into your space, as we were talking earlier, to be in your own body, to observe what's happening to your body as you're moving, as you're training, as you're living this life. Having that disconnect is huge, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to try to do it this weekend. Just get off my phone, just try to stay off social media. Although I need it, it's kind of an oxymoron for my job, my business. So I try to minimize it, give myself 5 minutes, check things, check messages, if any, and then I'm off. I'm done. So kids, it's a little harder. I can't imagine this day and age, but if they can do it, yeah, they can really tap into their own body, their own potential, really is what it comes down to, their potential. So distractions, minimize them as much as you can. Focus on you.
We have friends, and it's funny. It's, you're looking at the Instagram and the Telegram and all that, and I see all these kids, pics up there, and parents is, they got, 40. I only got 1,000 likes, but my daughter got 4,000 likes. I can't connect to that at all. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just like, why don't you make a Lego set or something together? It kind of like validates and has this thing that it's a floor for importance. I don't know, Dr. Jean, if you've dealt with that in your practice at all, where people are just trying to build these little, and I don't know if the thinking is because it's going to be of some kind of monetary value down the road or what, but it's strange to me. I don't get it. I'll never wrap my brain around it.
Yeah, it's like a delayed reward in somehow, right? It's like it's not really true love and liking. It's not really true connection. It's promise of connection in some way, right? And you're building up your karma of potential connections, but how much are we actually really connecting on a digital framework? It's more, I think we want that much connection. We want to have that much in our lives, but how beautiful would it be if we actually really did have, that kind of presence for each other and knew how to hold that, rather than it being, like, hey, look at how many I have, but more, look at how connected we all are and how much we really relate to you enjoying your vacation, right? I mean, that's the ultimate is I'm having enjoyment. I mean, we have, in our relationships, right? Our close relationships, mother infant, right? Mirror neurons. When we're looking at another person enjoying something, we feel it in our own body, right? And so I think that those likes kind of represent that we want that. It's just not really doing the trick.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I think with these things like what Noah was saying, right? The digital cleanse is having more opportunities. And I think now that, we're all out, we don't have to be stuck in our homes anymore. We need more community events, right? How can we come together? How can we have events where we experience that more often?
Yeah. Dominique.
I just want to say to the parents out there, if you feel that your teens are on their devices too much, look at your own behavior. And if you are also on devices and are not giving time and space to just the emptiness, just allow life to be. Enjoy the sunrise, enjoy the sunset together, have a cup of tea, and leave the phones behind. That's how we can encourage ourselves to have the real connection.
Yeah, since we're in a renaissance, I'm not looking at this section this time right now, out of COVID, out of shutdown, out of lockdown. We're in a renaissance. So let's just, maybe we can tweak a couple of patterns of behavior since we're coming out now, and maybe we could fix the things that, we once did. Listen, we've got a little bit more show left. We'll be back after these messages.
Brazil. Back in the USSR. Way down in LA.
Black, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m. Got like a minute and a half left. Dr. Jean, just give some love to somebody.
I want to say thanks to Noah Block and all of the people who are working out at AHA. They just do such a fabulous job for a number of teens over all the years.
Nice. Alex, who do you want to say something to?
The first thing that comes to my mind is my wife, because this weekend we're sneaking away. It's our 11-year anniversary, our wedding anniversary. So we're going to go to LA, take some time, a little R&R. So Nikki, my wife, she doesn't listen to this show. I try to get her to, but she's too busy.
Well, you name dropped her. Maybe she'll listen to this one. Don Sanders.
I want to give a gratitude shout out to water spirits, man. We've had this massive heat wave. So not naming names here, I just want to express gratitude for water.
Dominique and I want to just give lots of love to this community, greatest community on the planet to live. Hey, see you next week.